Hey guys, Brittany Geneva back with another episode, Mindful Musings. Thank you for tuning in. As always, you guys know I am trying to do better one day at a time. Um, this is an especially hard time though, as I'm sure we all can relate to. This coronavirus stuff is like throwing off my entire feng shui. And I wanted to actually do the podcast about that just because, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this. I don't know if anybody else is feeling how I'm feeling. And I realized like maybe how I'm feeling is like a little bit deeper than I first realized. And I just thought, if I'm feeling like this, maybe other people are. Maybe you don't know how you're feeling. Maybe you're just having emotions and you didn't realize or you haven't realized what it really is. So I thought maybe this could actually be helpful for some people. But if nothing else, I just need to say it because I've been thinking about this and I'm just like, oh, I need to get this off my chest to somebody. I have actually people, and I'll do another podcast about this with more detail later, but people may remember seeing me ranting and raving, well, not raving, just ranting on Instagram stories about how hard it is to find a Black therapist in DC, but I found one, and we have been doing like telehealth sessions. So that's been good, but it's still so new, so it hasn't really had enough time to like change my life yet, but I will report back when and if it does. But in the meantime, you guys are my therapy session because I'm just gonna talk to you and get my feelings out that way, okay? But no, I mean honestly, this is like kind of raw, kind of real. I really have been struggling, like full blown struggle bus extraordinaire with everything that's been going on with coronavirus, and I am not. I mean, like I'm not doing well. So I feel that, the D word, depression, it's so overused. People say it when they really should just say sad, you know. Depression is like a diagnosis. So I will not use that word to describe myself, but I will say I haven't been the happiest since all this stuff has gone on because it really has in the most egregious and overwhelming way, like completely thrown off my entire plans, my entire I mean, like I can't even overstate how much it has like completely changed everything that I had going on, and I'm not doing well with it. Like I already I don't do well with change in general. At least not sudden change. I'm a planner. I'm a prepper. I will sit on something for 6 months and let it simmer just to make sure, like, is this the move I really need to make? Is this the thing I really need to do? I'll do research like every single day for something. If I start to think about, I think I'm going to make this decision, I take forever and ever and ever and ever to think about it before I actually do it. And I really am not a person who likes just like sudden movements. I'm like, no, we just need to, everything needs to be like very thought out, very planned for. So this sudden movement of my entire life is like terrifying me. And of course, I don't want to belittle or like compare myself to people who actually have gotten COVID. Obviously, many thousands are dying from it or just having, complications and really suffering from the disease. So that those are the people who are having the worst time in this pandemic. Um, but at the same time, I think it's fair and it's healthy to acknowledge any other struggle or frustration that has arisen out of this pandemic. So thank God, I'm very thankful that I haven't gotten sick. No one in my immediate family, none of my friends, or even coworkers have gotten sick. So that I'm thankful for that, and I have to remind myself of that every day. But outside of that, my life has gotten sick because I literally, like you guys, I'm very it's kind of silly, but I'm very big on New Year's resolutions. And every year I make 3 to 4 resolutions that I am serious as a heart attack about achieving. And sometimes they're silly, sometimes they're more serious. Like 2 years ago, I made a resolution to see more live music. And I went to, I think, 3 festivals and 2 concerts that year. Because I was like, I need to see. I made a resolution to read more, so I joined a book club. Like I'm very serious about my resolutions, and I actually like really focus on them throughout the year. So I had made my resolutions, and I was doing a good fucking job on them. Like I was advancing toward my goals. My first resolution was, of course, to lose weight. Now, I always want to lose weight, but I very rarely make it a resolution because I know how serious that is to me. So I might just say something like be healthy, work out, but not necessarily lose weight. But this year, the resolution was lose weight because I was like, I'm tired of being big. I have plans this year, including a trip to Dubai. Thank God that still was able to happen, but many other things on the calendar for the year, things for which I do not want to be fat. So I was like, okay. So I hired this expensive ass trainer, joined this expensive ass gym down the street. Well, over the river from me. And I had been going. I was going, working out with her twice a week before work. I was getting into a very good groove of working out in the morning. I was eating healthy. I was cutting carbs. People were telling me, like, Brittany, I can tell you're like slimming down. That's like the biggest thing when other people can see it. Like, yes, like this is the most amazing thing. So I was on the road. And like if I had stayed in that routine, I definitely would have been losing. Um, but when this came up, it just fucked up my routine so much. And like, I need a routine to like be in order. And like, the impact of this has just completely fucked up my routine. I'm like, my bedtime is all off. My eating habits are all weird now. And I'm just like really struggling to get into a new routine because it took enough work to finally get into my previous routine. And like, I really was liking morning workouts. But like, since this has happened, I've had a harder time trying to do them. And like, anyways, it's really been a pain in the ass. And now I probably gained back all the little, few pounds that I had dropped plus some at this point. And I was working out when it wasn't like a complete shutdown. I was like meeting with my trainer and like working out in the park because there's like a park right next to my gym, but can't do that anymore. And so I was just like, fuck, I don't know. Like, do I just become fat now? Anyway, so I have to find a new routine, which is like really hard for me. But that's resolution number one. That's sort of, I don't want to say down the drain, but like in danger of being down the drain. And then resolution number two was to find a man. Yes, I made it a resolution. It's not a desire, it is a resolution. I resolved to do this. So I was like on the apps heavy, like especially on Hinge. And I was also getting in back into the groove of going out and trying to meet people because last year I was on a dating hiatus, like so purposefully did not want to date for the year so I could like work on myself and stuff. And this year I'm like, okay, I want to get back out there and I want to like be successful. And so I was putting my brain sort of back in that place of like, okay, you're out and it's not just like you and your homegirl or you and your homeboy hanging out. Like, not be on the lookout, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Like when you're out and you sort of have more of a vibe of like, approach me versus a vibe of like, no thanks. So I was sort of, starting to get that back. And I was like, the few times I did get to go out before all of this happened, I was like talking to people and I was like chatting people up at the bar. Like I was really putting myself very much out there in terms of like between that and like the apps, really trying to meet and like make these connections. And right at the beginning of the quarantine, I did meet a guy. Like, we were able to like sneak in a date basically right before everything shut down. And we had been talking, but honestly, it has fizzled, not because of the Rona, other reasons, but the Rona didn't help because it was like all we're doing is texting. Like, the situation I think already would not have worked out, but then this just made it even harder. And the worst part is it's not like, all right, fuck it, I'm back, I'm right back out there, bitch. No, I'm not. I'm back in here in my house that I've been in for a fucking month because I can't go anywhere. So that's actually the worst part, is that I can't even just say, okay, that's fine, it didn't work out, things don't work out, no big deal, I'm just gonna go meet somebody else. It's like, no, no, I'm not gonna meet anyone else. Ugh. Let me take a breath. So that is second resolution, highly fucked up. And then the third and final resolution that probably has the best chance of somewhat moving forward, but is still highly impacted, is my resolution to sort of get my side projects together. So I have my blog and my podcast that you all know about, but I also have one other in particular side project that I've been working to get off the ground that I have not been talking about. I have not been telling anyone about it, actually. And I was, again, in a routine and sort of getting things going there. And certainly I have time to do that. But now it's the impact of what I'm trying to do, and the focus of what I'm trying to do is highly affected by coronavirus. And now the appetite and the interest of like my potential audience for that other project is going to be very different because of this. So again, it's just throwing a wrench into all my fucking plans. And you really have to understand like how important my resolutions are to me to know that that is like devastating. Like, I was laying in bed one day and I just started bawling because I was like, I have this is like probably one of the rarest times in my life where I had like a level of discipline that was like unmatched. Like, I was not missing the gym. I was not eating carbs. I was going on these dates and answering these damn Hinge messages as though my life depended on it. And I was working on this side shit. And the impact of this on all three of those things, I just am so, I'm really hoping that it evens out for me because I have been sad, y'all. Like, I realize I'm sleeping so much more, but then also at weird times, I'm my stomach has been a wreck. And I don't think I've been eating any differently. I probably have without even realizing it. My stomach's been like so upset, like all the time. And of course, after having a dry February where I barely drink at all, I have had like the wettest March of all time, and I've been drinking way too much. That probably explains the stomach. And so everything is just out of whack. It's hard for me to focus. I am struggling. So I'm just putting this out there. One, if it's a comfort to anyone else who's in my same sort of mental space, just to know, hey, you're not the only one. I'm very much so struggling on a daily basis with this. But also, too, if you guys have any advice, any thoughts, any just, best practices for how you're getting through this, I would love to hear it because I definitely am taking baby steps, but I'm not there in terms of, being able to cope with this all better. Because I just don't even, I'm still in a state of shock. I'm still in a state of like every minute saying to myself, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is life right now. Um, so I have not been able to really find a new routine or find just like a healthier way to go through each day. But I know I need to, because I definitely can't keep like being as bummy and as as drinky as I've been. I'm trying to start taking walks more, although as soon as I did that, it got a little cold here in DC, but it will warm up. I will go walking. I have no excuse. I literally live across the street from a park. Um, so I'm going to start walking. I'm trying desperately to foster a dog. And I clearly am not the only one, because these dog shelters are completely inundated with people trying to foster. So they are overwhelmed and it's taking them forever. So I'm sort of disappointed, because I already volunteered with that shelter like multiple times. And I'm like, why am I not at the front of the line? But whatever. So I have applied to several shelters at this point, and I think that would help me so much if I had a little pooch during this time. And then that would obviously force me to have to walk multiple times a day. So I'm trying. I am just trying, but let me tell you, I am not there. And like, I'm all those, at first, the first wave when this came out, everybody, all these posts on social media were like, use this time to be productive and get those goals accomplished and do what you've been holding off on doing all along. And I think those were like subconsciously making me feel guilty. And so I'm very happy now to see sort of this backlash of different articles and different posts being like, you don't have to be productive. Like, shut the fuck up. If you uh, woke up this morning and then you made it through your day and then you went to sleep, productivity, bitch. Like, that's all you needed. So I I'm happy to see that balance is happening, because I think it is easy to confuse working at home with like having plenty of time, but we're not working from home because we want to take a lazy day. Like, we're trying to cope with a pandemic and at the same time attempting to set up home offices where they did not previously exist and make a workspace where one did not previously go. So this is not just like some, oh, now you have extra time and you're getting extra sleep, so you should be just like the bomb right now. No, like, this is hard. So we have to accept that it's hard and be okay with the fact that we're not just like gonna wake up and be these superstars tomorrow. But at the same time, I don't want to like get stuck in the place that I'm feeling like I'm in right now, and definitely want to figure out how to move forward. So anyways, that's me. Normally, you guys know I try to make my podcast a little bit, more like fun and funny. But this one, I don't got no jokes. I just need to get this off my chest, honey, and just express how I'm feeling, because it really is an overwhelming feeling. And just one that I'm praying I can get past pretty soon. So that is really all that I have. Next time, I'll have something more interesting, more fun for you guys. I'll try to balance it and make it more lighthearted. But I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you for, hearing me out this one time. Definitely, if you have any advice for me or any thoughts, or you can relate or whatever, hit me up on social media, Brittany_Geneva. And then I also have launched my page just for the podcast and the blog, Mindfully Over Matter. So you can hit me up there as well. But thank you for listening, and I will hopefully be back soon.